I've been getting you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pretty how you work hard for me, but forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and spice it up.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. I am wearing my blue light blockers today because I have been getting tons of headaches and I'm tired of it. So I'm going to see if this works. Anyway, we've got another Scentsy leader reaction video coming your way. This is from none other than the husband interrupter. Fortunately for his sake, he is not in this video today. He decided to sit this one out, I guess, because he was tired of getting interrupted a million times a minute. In this training, she's telling us how she is a six-figure earner. So we all know how it's going to go. It's going to be just amazing. We're all going to want to sign up for Scentsy right after this. Just kidding. Please don't do that. Now, if you're not aware of what Scentsy is an MLM, multi-level marketing company, network marketing company, whatever you want to call it. And the products that they have are scented products. So we're talking the plug-in warmers that have the light bulbs in the dish and they melt wax. They also have room sprays and things like that. Their whole company is focused around scented products. I do have a full deep dive as well as a fully stocked Scentsy playlist that I will make sure to link below so that you can go and check that out after this video if you would like. Now, if you are new here, I do not blur out the names or the faces of the people that I'm reacting to in my video. This does not mean that I am encouraging anybody to seek these individuals out and send them hateful messages or enticing hate in any way toward these individuals. My content is purely for entertainment and educational purposes only, so please leave these individuals alone. And with that, let's get the into the shit show, shall we?
Hello, everybody. I am super excited to... Hello, everybody. I am super excited to be sharing this very long overdue part of my Scentsy journey with you guys. I'm going to be talking about how to build a six-figure income with Scentsy. And I think this is very important because we don't talk about money enough. And I wanted to make sure that I had a video that could be recorded and on YouTube for years to come so people can see what my journeys looked like, activities that I've done, so you can take them and do it your way. But again, I don't think that money is talked about enough. And, you know, money is something, especially for leaders, that could be critical to making or breaking you staying with Scentsy and that kind of thing. And so my name is Chloe, and I have been a consultant since November 2012.
So she's been in basically since the beginning, which definitely helps prove the point of having to get into an MLM when they first start, before they hit that S curve, to actually benefit and make a livable wage.
So it was just 10 years this past November 9th to be exact. And I'm going to kind of walk you guys through really the activities, because that's how you build a business, is through your discipline and through your activities. But what activities I did then and what activities that I do now and what has changed, which is inevitable. And in a business, you should expect change and embrace change. And then I'm going to share with you guys things that I wish I knew then, because I've been doing this a really, really long time. And there's been so many incredible influences from Scentsy consultants, but there's also been ones that I took on or adapted to that were incredibly unbeneficial to my business. And so I think that's going to be key as you guys listen to what I've done, what I focused on, how I specifically focused on building leaders, those core values and those core concepts. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So joined November 9th, 2012, and I had just turned 22. So my husband and I had just gotten married that same year in October, the month before. And I had just started my job as a nurse. So I was a floor nurse. I worked at a hospital. I did that 5.5 years. So the entire first 5.5 years of my business, not only did I have a full-time job, but there were a lot of other things in between, which I'm going to talk about. Because there are elements you have to make decisions in for your business, and you have to decide what the sacrifice is going to be so you can make that game plan and work that game plan so you can get there.
Which is true to an extent if you actually own your own fucking business. You are a contracted recruiter and salesperson for a corporation. You don't own your own business. I wish they would stop saying that because it's a load of bullshit. Paying a fee to join a multi-level marketing company is not owning your own business. It's not a business in a box. And I think the reason that really gets under my skin specifically is because I literally built my business while it's virtual and I don't have products. My business is my business and I built it from the ground up. And it's hard as so for these people in network marketing to buy into a corporation and sign a 1099 contract and then start walking around saying they're a business owner, it's like a slap in the face to actual small business owners. So it needs to fucking stop.
A dream is just a dream. You have to put your feet to the pavement on it. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. So where was I at this time? Like I said, I was a new nurse. I had just gotten married the month before I joined. I had no direct sales experience at all, none. No marketing experience, no leadership experience, aside from a leadership course that I took in nursing school. But aside from that, this was way out of my element as far as knowledge went, which I think is really important to know, because when you embrace learning and you embrace difficulty and failure and change, and you learn to take that as a catalyst to do it better the next time, and to really take that as the failure is that next step to getting you to that target in your business or in your life, it can really be a game changer. And so the first 3 months of my business, I didn't sponsor anybody. I was really trying to, but again, I had never done this before. So I was very down on myself. And this is important because people have to understand what it takes to actually sponsor. Okay. So I was having conversations every day for 3 months straight when I first started my business. And I actually remember wanting to quit because I was like, this is so much, I have been having all these conversations. Nobody wants to join. Little did I know, now I know it takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition and a lot of consistency in order to sponsor, because sponsoring is something you do as a lifestyle. Sponsoring is not something you do to earn a pretty Scentsy bag or to earn an incentive. Sponsoring, when you are a true heart, I'm in it leader, sponsoring is just who you are. And I didn't know that then. So guess what? I wanted to quit, but I didn't. And then February of 2013, I got my first frontline. Right away, I'm going to tell you guys some activities that I was doing. Nobody had to tell me to do team meetings. Nobody had to tell me to show them the way. I knew immediately that if I wanted to help these people get to the next level, that I had to loop them in and build a community with them, share what I was doing, ask what they were doing. So I immediately, and I mean immediately, the month of February, did a team call.
Do you want a fucking gold star? Bravo. Imagine what it's like to actually start your own business.
It was with free conference calling. Y'all don't know nothing about free conference call because now we have Zoom and all these other things. But I did free conference call and just went over what was going on that month. And it was very simple, but also it got me into the rhythm of why it's important to be consistent with your team members and why it's important to show up, not in a way to where you're going to sacrifice every single waking hour. That's called you need boundaries and business hours, which we will talk about in the What I Wish I Knew Then Now. But showing up for your team is critical. And so I immediately was showing up for my team. I was immediately doing sample nights. I was immediately doing, there wasn't a lot of Zoom stuff and recording stuff like this. A lot of it was in person. And a lot of people like to say, well, we're in a digital world. People don't do that. You can do whatever you want to do in your business. If you want to have sample nights to get your team together, you can do that, and it's going to build community. If you want to do paint nights or bowling or go out to dinner or do any of those things, it's going to build community and it's going to be intentional. And so, you know, just like how people say parties aren't dead, well, also building community and connection with your team is not dead. You can only go so far with social media. So I didn't build my business with social media at all.
Congratulations. You actually didn't build your business at all. Here's the thing. If Scentsy decided to close its doors, if Heidi and Orville, the actual business owners of Scentsy, decided they no longer wanted to do this and they weren't going to sell it or anything, they were just going to shut it down, you wouldn't have a business. This isn't your fucking business. Cut the shit, for God's sakes.
I want to make sure that that is very clear. And so as I was working towards my first incentive, it was 2013. So
also, as a business owner, you don't have incentives. That's one of the downsides of actually owning a business. You don't have incentives. You give yourself your own incentives. Like, if I earn this much money, I can purchase my own vacation and go for 10 days and not 4, by the way. There's no incentives. You're a glorified employee. You have no say in marketing. You have no say on when Scentsy closes its doors. So the other way around, if you decided to leave Scentsy, Scentsy would still be standing, making it not your business.
Got my first full year. I went to SFR, and my first one, drove all the way to Indianapolis, had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to go to an event, and so I went to the event and everything changed. This is why it is critical that you go to events if you want to be a leader in Scentsy, if you want to take it seriously as a business in Scentsy. That first event changed my entire perception on what I thought life could be. I never thought that life could look different for me than where my life was at. Hang on, let me pull my chair up. There we go. Not in a bad way, but I just thought my family is in the medical field. I had a really, really rough childhood, so I had already been under a significant amount of trauma and stress. And so I thought, I'm just going to be here as a nurse because I've worked so hard. So my mindset was no growth mindset before I went to my first event. I did not think that I could ever earn an incentive. I thought those were weird. I thought people that earned incentives in direct sales company, it was like, sorry, respectfully, like the Mary Kay car, like that was not the vibe for me. But when I went to my first event, it was just very, very different. And it had nothing to do with anybody special talking to me or meeting anybody. It was a decision I made. And I think that's important for you to understand. You have to stop waiting.
That's false. It's a lot of hype. So I too went to 2 Scentsy family reunions, and the first one I went to, I wasn't into the business thing, and then I came home full throttle. It's a lot of hype and motivation and blah blah blah, and you'll hear at Scentsy family reunion, like the trainings that I've reacted to, they only tell you the success stories, so you don't hear about all of the 99% of people who have failed building their Scentsy business, even though it's not your fucking business. It really irritates me to no end. Like it's just really frustrating. And I can imagine that all Etsy sellers feel this way. All virtual businesses feel this way. All small business owners that have a brick and mortar feel this way. You look like a fucking idiot, to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because we are out here actually running our own businesses and doing the actual hard shit that it takes without having to recruit, because that's bullshit. And we're being successful, but you guys are trying to take all of the credit for everything that you do. Give me a fucking break. Ooh, I'm spicy today. So I got my flaming hot shirt on. I am literally going to live in this sweatshirt for the rest of my life.
For someone else in Scentsy to validate you to get to that next level of your life, because it's your life. Nobody made that decision to go to SFR but me. I drove there with my husband, drove there. Okay. Like ate sandwiches, like we were broke. living on credit cards. And so
Oh my God, the horror. You ate sandwiches, not sandwiches.
I come back and I earn a top 100 trip to Greece. Never in a million years thought I could do that. My husband had
Did you go for 4 days? What'd you see?
never been outside of the country aside from when we went to Mexico for our honeymoon. And so I earned it. And I also got pregnant that December with my son. He's now 8. His name is Brody. And I went to Greece in 2014, pregnant, 27 weeks pregnant, went to Greece. It was a top 100 trip. And when I earned that, and it's not always about a goal for everybody, but for me, and this is important to understand, because I vocalized it and I said, I'm going to earn this trip, and I put my feet to the pavement and I continued to do the 2 by 2 by 2, 2,000 a month, sponsor 2 a month, continue to do it for 2 years. That's just something I've continued my whole career. But 2 by 2 by 2 was a lifestyle for me from the second I recruited the first person till today.
Which is interesting because it's not a pyramid scheme, but it sure does sound like it in my opinion. You didn't start making that real money until you started recruiting. Huh, Chloe?
We live in a culture where we think that we don't have to work to succeed. And the reality, especially in Scentsy, is that you cannot work in Scentsy. That's fine. You cannot build leaders. You can kind of front load parties and not do it other months. But the longer that you do that, the longer you're going to drift away from disciplined actions that are going to get you to a 6-figure income.
So something that I want to point out is that she's saying she has to work to recruit. And I'm not saying that this isn't work to recruit. I'm not saying that it's easy. It's not easy. And that's why so many people fail also, because you have to recruit in order to actually make it worth your while. But a lot of people are not good at recruiting. And it does take a lot of work. So I'm not saying that it doesn't take a lot of work, okay? But working and starting your business and figuring it out on your own are 2 totally different things. You are working. That's it. You were handed a book that told you how to climb the ranks, and that's what you did. Somehow, you have recruited as many people as you have, likely because you got in so early. But without recruiting that many people, would you be making 6 figures? Probably not. You'd probably have left by now. You'd probably still be nursing. I know that there are people at the top still that have recruited, that have worked their way to the top, but cannot sustain being at the top because they didn't get there in the beginning, and they are still having to work their jobs and work this bullshit MLM with the false hopes and dreams that they will one day be able to quit their job or go part-time or go PRN. That's not how it works in MLMs. Those are false dreams.
6-figure incomes in direct sales do not happen accidentally. They're actually very, very intentionally. And I can bet that there's only a small percentage of consultants in every direct sale company that makes the 6-figure income, which is another reason why I want to do this video, because I want you guys to understand what it takes. And this video won't be for everybody, but it's going to be for the people that want to change their life and make a 6-figure income and see that it's possible. I want you guys to understand I have no background in sales and marketing and anything that I stated previously. And I also learned by error, by trial and by error. Okay? Again, your scents, that's all you need. Okay? So you don't need all these fancy things and all these, we're very distracted by social media, but what you need to do is bring the scents to work. Tell people they can get free Scentsy.
Don't bring the scents to work. Please, God, for the love of Jesus. I am not sure how I didn't get fired, but lots of times that's against the rules of your work. You are now taking your MLM that you make money off of and simultaneously getting paid by your employer to sell said MLM bullshit. And that can cause you to get fired. So please don't bring your scents to your job if you are a Scentsy consultant. That can get you fired. I could have gotten fired if my boss wasn't awesome. It is in the handbook that I could have gotten fired.
There are hundreds and thousands of trainings on this, but also in my first 5.5 years, every day I was watching some kind of training or learning something new. seeing new tips on how to have verbiage to get party bookings, seeing party booking games, hostess coaching stuff. I wasn't looking on Facebook pages to steal someone's Canva image. I was the Canva image.
I was the Canva image. Get a grip.
And y'all need to understand that. You are your business card. Your face is your business card. Your testers are your employees. All that other stuff.
You just proved that you don't own a business. You don't own your testers are your employees. They don't talk. They don't give you any issues. Like when you own your own business and you have a team, it's a little different than calling your testers your employees. Oh my God, she's so clueless.
It's cute. It looks good. I love marketing now. I love it. But that's not what's built my business. What built my business and what builds businesses and what continues to build my business is sponsoring to a month, 2,000 in sales a month, indefinitely for me. So a couple things that...
When is she going to run out of people? Or are they just dropping off and rejoining?
Definitely were huge in my last 10 years, and that we're always like the groundwork of me being as sane as I could be. But what really helped me the most was I had a really strong grounded faith. So I'm a believer, and I just really, my team name is based out of Hebrews 6:19. I believe that God has given me this business. It's up to me to steward it and to learn and to grow and to do all those things. So I've always been very grounded in that, because without him, I would have left a long time ago.
I don't know how God feels about things that look like pyramid schemes, in my opinion. Beats me. Never talk to him.
And discipline over motivation. Motivation is the biggest lie somebody will tell you. Do not listen to anybody who tells you that in order to be successful, you need to be motivated, because I am telling you right now, there have been 10 times the amount of days when I was not motivated, but I was disciplined. I knew what I wanted to get, out of this business and where I wanted my life to be. I could see it. I could visualize it. So no feeling or no bad sale or no like flopped party or someone who joined and didn't do anything. Those didn't matter to me and still don't matter to me, because I'm always focused on what's ahead. I'm always looking out of the windshield. I'm not looking in the rearview mirror. So I think that's really, really important, because discipline is going to get you to do those really big, scary, fundamental things in repetition. And it doesn't mean you're not going to be scared. I still get very, very nervous whenever I'm training somebody that I don't know. I get nervous when I do home parties. I get nervous with new customers. But nerves are not always a bad thing. Okay? Getting uncomfortable is really important. And then the last thing that I really have always focused on in my business is letting my business tell me what to do. Okay? What does that mean? So that means whenever I go to work and do what I need to do for my business, I'm looking at sales, sponsoring, and leadership. Those 3 tiers. Okay? So if I'm looking at PRV and I would see it's mid-month right now, for me, my personal goal now is always $4,000 a month. So for me, I'm looking at today, 16th, and I'm like, okay, am I at 2,000? Because that's where I want to be this month. Okay, let's move over to sponsoring now. I said my goal was 2 this month. I just got 2 as of yesterday, but I need to see where they're at with their business. Do they want to do launch parties? How can I help them succeed? Are they going to be kind of in, kind of out? Where are they going to be as consultants? And number 3, where is leadership? Who am I looking at? Who am I working with? Leadership comes from PRV and sponsoring. You're not going to have the leaders to build if you're not selling and you're not recruiting. And I think this is key, because so many people get focused on their team of 13 people. And listen, my first year until I went to SFR, I was a star consultant and I had 13 people, literally. And I would focus so much on them and so much on them. But then I went to reunion and I was like, dude, I need to build me's. I need to build people like me. I need to teach people how to sponsor like me. So
Please don't build more yous. Oh, husbands everywhere, just shriveling.
conversation was different. The conversation with those team members was not just, hey, here's how you can sell this month. Here's a little challenge we're doing with our team. It was, hey, I believe in you and I see something in you. I can help you get there. Let's talk about sponsoring if you want to do that. And I'll tell you what I do. Now I'm going to talk about at the end of this training some different things that I am going to implement now after 10 years in leadership, because I've done a lot and I've learned a lot. But it comes down to your PRV, your sponsoring, and your leadership. It's that simple. We are overcomplicating it. And if you're saying you don't have customers, you don't have parties, and you're not getting out and meeting people, you're not going to be able to just build a massive, huge business by not having conversations with people. It's not going to happen. And by not
You're also not going to be able to build a massive, huge business by joining an MLM.
not having conversations with your team, and by not going out ahead of them and doing the things that you're asking them to do. Being a real, authentic leader who works really, 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 really hard. Okay. And so 2012 to 2016, like I said, social media wasn't a thing. Okay.
It was. Social media has been a thing since 2005, roughly. I don't know if she's a millennial, but we started with MySpace, then we moved to Facebook, then it was Instagram. Social media has been a thing all along.
And so I was very focused on home parties. I did a lot of home parties. They were always themed. Okay. I switched now more to bag parties, and I'm also going to get into more events as well. But my main bread and butter, where I found a lot of customers, was home parties. And then also I took bag parties to work. My goal was 6 to 8 a month parties, period. Because
Again, please, God, don't do that. You can get fired. Your job can fire you if you do that in most cases.
I wanted to recruit some of those people. So a lot of these things that I'm saying now, they're not much different today. If you implemented six to 8 parties a month, 2,000 PRV a month, two recruits a month, and you focused on leadership and building a community and having consistent trainings and connection points and sample nights and one-on-ones and helping people understand the compensation plan, you're going to build a wealthy business, but you have to do it consistently. Not just on the third Friday of the month because you feel like it. That's not how wealth is built. It's not built off of feelings. I can tell you that right now. If wealth in this business was built off of feelings, I would have left the first time somebody made me cry. And y'all need to understand that, because you will get upset in this business. Things will happen. You know why? Because most of you have never done this before. But that's where you have to grow your discipline muscle, and you get on YouTube and you train yourself in areas of weakness that you are going to get strong in. I have always been in my business disciplined to the sense of, if I see someone is doing something and it's really working for them, and if I have weighed out my options and I'm like, I think I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. I'm going to do that, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And change also has to happen as time evolves and as the years change.
You know what's interesting is she can do really well with starting her own business because she has the right idea, but she is in the wrong industry. Like, if she really wanted to go for it, she could be like a social media manager, a YouTube manager, all of these things. But she's wasting her time in Scentsy. Before I make this point, I know businesses can shut down whether they are small or large in the blink of an eye. Okay. But she literally has no control over what happens to Scentsy at all. She has no control. So if Scentsy were to say goodbye and close their doors, she has nothing. But I think she would do really well with starting her own business. If she's watching this, I don't know, maybe consider starting your own actual business instead of walking around pretending like you're a business owner when they can rip that away from you at any second.
So things that worked for me before, because now I've been home for 4 years now, 5 years now, it's not going to work the same now. But the core is meeting people, sponsoring, and selling, and having a goal for that. My goals are always written down every single month. Every single month. That's discipline. I know what I'm going to do every day. That's discipline. My business tells me what to do. I do certain things on days of the week. You don't have to do that, but if you were scattered in your business, I highly recommend you get a focus point, because if you're not 100% focusing on PRV and then 100% focusing on sponsoring and then 100% focusing on leadership, you're going to struggle. You can't do all three of those things at one time. You have to break it up. All right. So I also built my business on a lot of one-on-one sniff sessions. I would do order drop-offs and meet for coffee. I mean, it's a grind. I'm going to be really honest. You have to stop being a soft consultant and a soft leader, and you have to get to work. That is how you build a business, is by working when the doors are closed.
First of all, let's address the fact that I now have my regular glasses on. We had to take a break for soccer. Now we're back and we're finishing this video. So you have to be an asshole? Is that what she's saying? You have to have an attitude like this individual who, through the grapevine, I hear is not nice to her team. Is that how you make it to the top? I mean, that is what it seems like in the world these days, but so how you make it to the top of an MLM too, specifically Scentsy?
Making a sacrifice. There were 2.5 years where I would go home, put my son to bed if he wasn't already in bed, kiss my husband, and go upstairs and work and do what I needed to do.
What a life.
I would wake up early. I was working 13-hour shifts. I'd wake up early and I'd get bag parties ready to give to people at work. I would run bag parties to people on my lunch break. I would pick them up on my lunch break. By lunch break, I mean 12 minutes you got to eat when you were a floor nurse, and that also includes peeing. And not once, and even now, I don't complain. So you have to also stop complaining and
Ma'am, these rants on your videos oftentimes sound like complaining. Maybe listen to yourself.
Make a decision that if you don't like where your sales are, nobody's going to change that but you, sis. If you don't like the fact that you're not recruiting, sadly, quit crying about it and learn a different way to do it. Grow your network. How many home parties have you had? How many events are you in? How are you meeting anybody new?
Okay, the thing about events. First of all, nobody wants to have home parties anymore. Second, events. If you are just now joining Scentsy, or you have in the past, 4 or 5 years, the chances of you getting into an event that is already established is very slim, because events usually go to the vendors who were there the previous year and they will offer that spot to them. So if there's already a Scentsy consultant that's been doing it in the past, whether it's the past 1 year or the past 20 years, that consultant gets first dibs. So it's not as easy as she's making it sound to her team.
How are you meeting anybody new? You cannot expect to sponsor, and you cannot expect to have sales without meeting new people every month. And by new, I don't mean 2 new people a month. I mean 15 to 20 new people a month. By really getting yourself out there, and home parties, bag parties, those events, that's how you're going to meet people. So I left nursing in 2018. And before I left nursing, though, I promoted to SSD in 2015. So 3 years later, I promoted. I double promoted. I went from Star Director in October to SSD in November. So I promoted to SSD the same month that I had joined in November. And I was still a nurse. I didn't leave till 2018. So I'm working my business as a SSD. But this is where it changed for me with leadership. And this is where I began to see how to really build wealth and what that looked like. Because you're not going to build wealth, and I will die on this hill in direct sales. You're not going to build wealth by just having great sales. You're not. And I know that because I see the breakdown of my paycheck.
Sorry, Chloe. Did you just admit that this is a pyramid scheme? Literally every single top leader that I've reacted to has at one point said, your paycheck will not grow unless you recruit. Essentially is what they're saying. They say it over and over and over again. That's a big old red flag. It's a neon flashing red flag that it's a pyramid scheme, in my opinion. But I mean, she just said it.
You're not going to grow wealth by just recruiting people and putting them on a team page. You've got to lead them to water. You've got to give them the tools. Encourage them.
But it's their business. If it was their business, they wouldn't have anybody there doing that.
Show them the possibilities. And so when I promoted, though, I was not paid at title that first year. And it is because I'm going to go ahead and say this. I am a recovering people pleaser. I am a recovering yes girl. I used to say yes to everything. I used to people please all the time, feel bad all the time. Very, very, very bad trait to have when you're a leader, right? But I wanted everybody to be happy, and I wanted this and I wanted that. Not sustainable, not duplicatable, kept doing it. But I wasn't paid at title the first year. You know why? Because I was just focused on the 4 directors that I had to get to SSD and trying to save them to get them to get paid at title. Mind you, only one of those 4 directors is still in Scentsy today under me.
What? Ma'am, you're not helping your case at all. Like, you just admitted that these people that were with you in the beginning are no longer with Scentsy. So they are part of the 99% that has failed at MLM and likely lost money.
Her name's Heather Bullock. She's the only one that stayed. The other 3 that I was trying to save, that time was wasted trying to save them when I could have been building new lead stars and superstars. So after that first year in 2016, I was like, I am not doing this. I am not saving these grown women. I am not going to keep listening to their problems respectfully, because I'm not. This is not an emotion business. I have learned that very clearly over the past year. You must take emotions out. You don't need to be friends with these people. You're here to be a mentor. You're here to give them the tools. You're here to show up. You're here to work hard. That's it. Okay?
I mean, at least she's saying that instead of pretending like she's going to be your friend.
So I was like, okay, I think I need to start talking to people one-on-one. Hence, coaching calls were born. They used to be called AIM, if any of you have been here for a long time. First started the program and called it AIM, and it was aiming to help them promote. That was the focus behind that program. Then Coach the Coach, right? Now there's text coachings that I've implemented the past year and a half, and there's different ways you can do it. But the bottom line of leadership is helping people past certified. If you looked right now at yourself as a leader, say you're a star or a superstar or a director, I would love to know how many frontline lead stars, superstars, and director you have under you. Frontline. Because the focus has to be, as a leader, in building yous, in building people to get where you're at. And not only that, y'all know what my other goal has always been with you guys?
In building yous. I've gone over this a few times, but just in case this is your first Scentsy video with me, first of all, thanks for watching. Second, so when she says you want to help your consultants get past certified consultant, here's how the ranks work. There's essential consultant and certified consultant, and those are the bottom 2 ranks. The only difference between those 2 ranks is that certified consultants have sold over $1,000 in PRV. So once you go from under $1,000 to $1,000 in PRV, you get promoted from essential consultant, making 20% of your sales, to certified consultant, 25% of your sales. And the reason she wants her consultants to get past certified is because that means they've recruited. Anything above certified requires you to have a team. So all of the levels above are recruitment based.
To help you do it better and quicker, and I'll die on that hill too, because that's always been my goal, is to help you guys evolve and do it quicker and do it better and do it really on your time. Do it your way. Okay? And so I really started focusing on coachings and on one-on-ones.
But also her way.
Did not have enough boundaries though in that. And so we'll talk about that in a minute, but didn't have enough boundaries in that, but I was coaching a lot. A lot of people were promoting. It was a really great time. This went on until really 2019. So from 2016 to 2019, for 3 solid years, my coaching went up. Leadership went way up. Okay. This leadership page cranked up, leadership calls on this page cranked up. Everything really, really, really became very focused on how can I help them get to that next level, and how can I help them learn how to sponsor and learn how to have consistent sales and earn annual sales and earn annual mentor. So it became like a passion of mine to help people have different lives. Because
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that you get a raise every time they promote and a bonus a lot of times. Nothing to do with that, right?
Scentsy changed my life. So again, you as a leader have to know the way and go the way before you show the way. And I knew how to teach them how to do it because I did it. And that's key.
Dr. Seuss over here. No, go and show the way.
You have to be the one that's leading the way. You have to be the one to say, you know what? I am going to promote to director. And not only am I going to promote to director, but I'm bringing a director with me. I'm bringing leads with me and stars with me and superstars. I wish somebody told me that when I promoted to superstar director. But you know what everybody says? Get 4 directors. No, you need 6 directors when you promote to SSD, because 2 of them are going to be gone in a year.
Again, not helping your case.
You need 4 when you promote to star director, or at least 3, and 1's on the way. Constant building of leaders is critical if you want to build wealth, financial freedom. I'm not going to sugarcoat this because the income disclosure will be on it. If you want to build financial freedom, you have got to get up and lead. Quit showing up to your leaders' leadership calls and do your own. Build that community. Build it behind closed doors. Good Lord. Help them. Text them. Show them the way without dragging them. Identify the right people to work with. When I identify who I'm going to work with, and I've taken a long break on coaching calls, so when I go back to them next month, I'm going to be very intentional. And guess what? It always starts with my front line. I'm not going to coach somebody 10 down from me before my own front line. That doesn't even make sense. So you also have to look out when you're identifying who you're going to work with. You need to first look at your front line. And if you don't have front line to work with, the second thing I want you to look at is your sponsoring. Because if you have no one to work with, I want to know what your sponsoring's been the past 6 months. That's why consistent sponsoring is key as a leader. You have no idea where that person is going to be. You're one person away from changing your entire business.
Not your business.
Okay? And so constant building of leaders at each level is critical. When you're a star director, you're focused on building multiple directors, and you're building a star director under you. When you're an SSD, you're continuing to not just build directors now, but now you're building second and thirds. Do y'all understand? Do y'all know the comp plan? The comp plan is key. You have to understand the compensation plan, so you can explain it to someone who wants to get to lead, so you can explain it to someone who wants to get to star, and etc. So being competent is important. And then after I promoted to SSD and was doing these coaching calls, I ended up retiring. So I left in 2018. I left nursing. I retired. Done.
You didn't retire. You fucking quit. Retiring would be you taking your 401k, your social security benefits, your retirement package, whatever it is. That would be retirement. You quit your job.
I got pregnant with my daughter that next year in 2019, and then the rest is history, because right when she was born, 2020 happened. So that was fun for me. I had to pivot a lot. I had to figure out different ways I was going to work, being now a mom of 2. And then my son was home for a little while when schools were closed down. And so I really had to make sure that I was continuing to sponsor as a lifestyle. I was continuing to keep the community up with leaders. So I would have events at my house, as some of you remember. So I was continuing that community. And I think that is very, very key, is establishing the community within your team and within your leaders that they don't want to leave. Some will leave regardless, but that doesn't matter. Let them leave. But you want to build a community to where they feel valued and seen and loved, and they know that their leader is going to show up. Y'all know I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there, period. Regardless of my feelings, regardless of what's going on at home, regardless of what's going on in my business, regardless of what's going on in my head, I'm going to be at World Tour. I'm going to be at SFR. It's a non-negotiable for me. I can't afford to not be there.
That's really sad, regardless of what's going on at home. So your family comes second to Scentsy Family Reunion and World Tour?
That's my mentality. So here are a couple things that I do now that I wish that I knew then, okay? Number one, this is key, and we're almost done. Number one, boundaries in your business are critical, not optional. Can I tell you a secret? And this is gonna hurt, but I'm gonna be really honest. Your team doesn't care. You can think they care. You can think that they're your best friend. You can think that they're always gonna be there for you. Listen to me. This is a business. Friendships are a bonus. They are not a necessity. Quit thinking you need a bunch of Scentsy friends in order to run a business.
I mean, again, props to her for saying that and not pretending like this is some kind of fake friendship community bullshit, like almost all of the other leaders, quote unquote, do.
You need to be headstrong, disciplined, goal-oriented, and driven and consistent. That's how you build a business. I have let so many people in my past 10 years chew me up and spit me out. And guess who was the only one that hurt because she didn't have boundaries? Me. Guess who emotionally invested in things that didn't matter? Me. If I can give you one tip, take emotions out of your business from the aspect of attaching success of you to the success of your team or what they think of you, etc. You need to, as a leader, work your business consistently, set goals for yourself consistently, show up for your team and leaders consistently, and build leaders and rinse and repeat and take care of yourself. You do not owe your team or your leaders your life, your testimony, and your stories. They do not get that because you are their leader. Do you understand? And you can build trust without exposing all of those things, because I want y'all to understand this. They do not care. They do not care. And I wish somebody told me that. And my husband tells me that all the time now. And I'm like, no, they care. No, they don't. No. But guess what? When you separate from that and you're like, hey, this is a business. These are my business hours. I'm not going to respond to somebody texting me with gossip or drama.
These are my business owners. Like, if you were a business owner, somebody else wouldn't be calling you their business owner. I'm going to work my business of business owners so they can recruit more people to own their own business.
I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to work my business. Then the conversation and the mental health is different. Then it's different. Quit investing into things that are not productive for your business or your life. Quit wanting it for people that don't want it for themselves. I see a lot of leaders invest in people that don't want it for themselves. It's only taking away from the 20 other people that you could be working with and building a business relationship with and giving them tools so they can be successful, because you're focused on the 3 people that are star consultants on your team that complain every single day and haven't been paid a title in months and can't sell worth of nothing. That's reality. Focus on what is going good and what opportunities lie ahead. Have boundaries. Number 2, I did this before, but I just want to re-emphasize it. Focus on discipline and growing that muscle. Grow that muscle in all areas of activity, okay? So discipline in your health, discipline in your business, discipline in relationships, discipline in if you're a mother or a father. So being disciplined in the things that are going to create peace in your life, but also productivity in your life. Number 3, you don't have to do it all, but you need to focus on what matters. Too many people are doing it all and they're not focusing on what matters. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Get off the Facebook pages and book parties. Have conversations, sponsor people, tell them that they can get the kit this month, right? The enhanced kit. Have conversations. Book home parties. Have a different conversation with your follow-up. Stop having the same conversation over and over and over without challenging yourself. It changes when you change. The change isn't going to happen until you make the change. And so focusing on what matters is critical. Okay? Samples to me are fluff. That's the last thing I'm going to do every time. For me, it's PRV sponsoring leadership, PRV sponsoring leadership, PRV sponsoring leadership. That's it. Okay? Samples happen when I don't got a dang thing to do. And I've had all my conversations. Okay? Number 4, evolving and change is a good thing. And it's constant. I wish that I knew back then that so much would change now. I wish I understood that. But as a nurse in my career, things weren't really going to change. I was still going to be a registered nurse. I may change floors or get floated, but my job and what my responsibility was always going to be the same. Not that way in Scentsy. Things are constantly changing and evolving, and that's what you want. Change is good. Every day the world changes. So get up in that and get uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like change. I understand that, but you have to embrace change and understand that the company's going to change. The products are going to change. The people are going to change. People, team, customers, leaders, etc. All of it's going to revolve, and it may not always come back. And I mean that in a way of sometimes in our business, we take the bad party that flopped or the team member that didn't do anything. And a lot of people look at that and it discourages you and makes you not want to run. I want you to double that effort and get 2 more recruits for every recruit that doesn't do anything. That's the mentality that wealth is built on. That's the mentality. My dad told me right when I really started this business, and it was like the greatest thing he ever said. He told me, Chloe, don't focus on the business. Don't focus on like growing the business necessarily. He said, focus on the people, and the people are going to change your business. I have always been focused on the people, always been focused on the one customer, always been focused on that new team member, always been focused on my leaders trying to evolve. We're about to have a new leadership page, a new team page. Y'all know how much work that is for me? But guess what? And when I do it, it's going to be so much easier for y'all to find resources and tools. And it's going to...
You should be grateful that she's giving you another Facebook page. You know how much work that is for her? But again, she doesn't complain. She doesn't ever complain. That's what she said in the beginning of the training.
Help you feel more like compatible and clear with your business, because clarity was something I needed this year. And so evolving is key. All right. Also, you don't have to do or be everything for everyone. If you are in that circle of chaos, you don't have to do it. You don't have to keep answering texts at 10 o'clock at night or Facebook DMs or all the things. It's very, very self-destructive. And also you may be able to do it with a team of 50, maybe even 100, maybe 200. But once it gets on up there, you'll shut yourself in a dark room. And so understanding that you don't have to do and be everything for everybody, not only is it okay, but it's healthy. It's healthy. That's how healthy businesses are built. That's how people stay married. That's how people maintain sanity, is by understanding that you don't have to make people's businesses work for them. They have to work. They're independent. But all of the tools and the resources and the community and all the things that you can offer, or that you can have your director offer to your new team member, and you showing up for them, you being their leader, not your director, that's key. That's what's going to help you see success in your business. Help them find their way. This is something that I wish I knew then, but guess what? I did not, and I have grace for myself because I was just showing everybody what I was doing because it was working. But now what I'm focused on in leadership is showing them their way. I want to see what you want. If you're willing to work and you're not going to give me excuses because I can't do all that. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to book the parties, if you're willing to have sponsoring conversations, let's figure out your way to do it. And that is my mentality going into 2023 with my personal leadership, is I want to find your way. I want to find your best way to party. I want to find your best way to have sponsoring conversations. I want to have your best way to lead and to coach your people to help them get to where you got.
But then you wouldn't be creating more yous. You would be letting them run things the way they want to run them. She just keeps contradicting herself.
So number 7, work to live and don't live to work. I lived to work for a long time. I gave a lot of people a lot. Don't do it. Work and be done with it. I promise you. Let me promise you something. Yes, if you have a full-time job and you want to build a 6-figure income, you will be the last one going to bed. You will be the earliest one waking up. But you won't be doing that forever. It gets me real emotional because I remember that time, and not once did I complain, but man, I was tired. And y'all don't even know. Half y'all didn't even know me. And the ones who were consultants, not once did I ever complain. Not once did I get up and talk crap on Facebook about how crappy my life was, or talk on my team page. I got up and I did it. I did events where I sold 1 bulb. All those moments though, all that discipline has gotten my life to this place. And it's an incredible place to be, but you have to know when to cut it off. And I wish back then somebody told that 23, 24-year-old girl that it's okay. You don't have to keep answering everybody's texts. You don't have to get into that. You don't have to do that. Like, I wish somebody told me that. Like, do your work and then be done with it.
I'm pretty sure she's like newly in her 30s, if that. I can't do the math that quickly. So she's like 33, I think, if I'm doing my math correctly. How many years did you actually work? Especially if you left your job. Okay. She was working as a nurse. I don't know. We'll say 2010, maybe, roughly. And then she quit. She retired in 2018. But she's saying how she put so many years into working for other people. Ma'am, that's about 8 years. Get a grip on your life. That's not that long.
Don't do all the extra. It's not worth it. Failure, number 8. Failure is a part of the game plan in any business. You're going to fail. Get used to it. I have people not reply every day. I have people tell me they don't want to do this every day, or a party flops. But that doesn't, we've got to grow a pair respectfully and understand that failure is normal for any business owner. Okay?
Imagine if you were working somewhere and your boss came into a meeting and was just like, we've got to grow a pair. So professional.
Once you embrace the failure so you can fly, it's a beautiful feeling. Failure challenges me to go, okay, I've tried this for 90 days. This didn't work. Let me look at a different way to do it. That's the mindset of people who build wealth right there. Let me look at a different way. Not you're going to your sponsor, not you're going to a Facebook page. You're literally like, okay, what's my new plan? What's my new plan? What am I going to do? What am I going to do in my business? Okay, let me go on YouTube. Let me look up some different ways people party. Let me do a list of 100. Let me do a booking blitz. The flight is up to you, but you will be building the plane as you fly as a leader. Okay? And so, number 9.
That's a problem.
Celebrate every win. I wish that I stopped trying to earn everything so hard without celebrating myself. Because I never used to celebrate myself. Earn a top trip, whatever. What's the next thing? Earn this, what's the next thing? Now, like when I just earned that past incentive, I was so proud of myself. I didn't need my husband to take me out to dinner, and he didn't. I didn't need a million people telling me how good I did. I stopped and celebrated myself. I don't need you guys or anybody else to validate my fulfillment of how hard I worked, but me. And that's also something else you need to understand as a leader. You're going to be alone a lot of times. You're going to have to learn how to celebrate yourself. You're going to have to learn to sit in it for a minute, but then be gangster and get back to work. But sit in those celebrations. Be proud of your sales when you have high sales. Be proud of your sponsoring. Be proud of that awesome new teamy training that you created. Be proud of that. And number 10, remember why you started. When your business gets hard, and it will, and I mean like hard. I mean like crying, on the floor hard. When you get there, I want you to remember this.
I want you to remember this if you ever get there, if you're watching this and you're in an MLM. This is not your business, and you don't have to suffer through it. Just leave.
People only have control over what you give them control over. They do not care, and that's okay. This is leadership, School of Hard Knocks right here. You have to understand this. So you must remember why you started. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I hope this encouraged you guys to go out there and do it your way and realize that there's no one-way roadmap to get to a six-figure income, but it takes simple disciplines done every day and very, very well. I know that you guys can be successful in your business. You guys can do anything you put your mind to and your discipline to, but the only one that's going to be able to make the change that you'll see not now, but 2 years from now is you. So what are you going to do today that 2 years from now, your 2-year self is going to look back at this moment and be like, wow, we freaking did that.
She's just as rough without her husband as she is with her husband. But at least we didn't have to hear her cut him off 157,000 times. As always, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.
Pity how you work hard for me. Like forgetting how to talk. Now I